There's no easier way to explain it. The experience itself.
So you're a dance boy, as
By
Danya
force.
Mams said.
By force.
Maybe tuna more coach at all family.
To the party. So I'm young, I get scared. I shout, I want to be like saying,
Yeah.
over training, so name frustrated. Next day is you then you get a VVR version. And Steve likes a lot of input from the senior guys, which is something Eloren, if I were to say, get down for which because he would ask the senior guys and then he can ask something personal when guys would like this. The senior guy
The money.
Yeah, that's what some of the guys I know they did that gun. Like, look, play Charambandar instead of George. Pitso umfirili. He kept on calling. Hey, you know what Makaro, you know? Next time. I couldn't even look at Bobby.
George, coach, great.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not. Let's just get straight into it. The last time you played a professional match was in 2020, as I understand.
Yeah, 2020.
So just, I'm sure everyone will be keen to know, like since you last kicked professional soccer ball, what have you been busy with? What are you doing currently?
The most part is being busy with family.
Okay.
Because you hardly have time traveling and obviously working on the clothing brand. And yeah, just taking slowly like that.
Okay. And I mean, when you say clothing brand, I think you're wearing the shirt. It's Assets. Now tell us about it. What? Firstly, the name Assets, what does it mean? What does it represent? And what is the brand all about?
It's a luxury streetwear. So the name Assets is because of trying to turn clothing into an asset, something you can cherish, something that's gonna live out for a very long time. So because every day we buy expensive clothes and after you wear it 2 times outside Nyaka.
Yeah.
So we're trying to create that sustainability of clothing, luxury clothing. So that's basically the moral of the whole name Assets.
Okay, so is that primarily your main focus right now?
Yeah, it is my main focus, trying to grow the brand and to become a household name clothing brand. Obviously, there's a couple of locally based clothing brands that are doing well. So we're trying to create that competition, trying to create our own clientele in a way. So yeah, it's growing. To my surprise, it's growing bigger than I expected. So you're on the right lane.
Okay, I mean, we've all heard stories about how difficult it is to make the transition from professional level, to life after football. And we'll touch on this towards the end, but just for now, very briefly, can you just summarize how you would explain that transition? How difficult was it? I mean, this was your brand, this is all you knew, and now it all comes to an end and you need to create a new life. How have you found it?
There's no easier way to explain it. The experience itself, that's what's going to teach you of life after having been spoon-fed everything in life. When you play, you get told what time to wake up, what time to sleep. Everything's on a silver platter. They give you clothes, they give you. So now, after football, you're going to have to do those things yourself. They're no longer given to you. And that's where life really starts and challenges you. So, in my experience, it's very challenging. It's a make or break for most of the players. So, yeah, that's basically that. From my side, experience will teach you.
Sure.
So for the ones that are playing now, at least they have experience. Doing these podcasts and sharing the journey is just to give you scope. So look, this is coming. So prepare for it now while you still play.
Sure, and I mean that's the purpose for shows like this, it's just to give that perspective, and also for the upcoming and the current players, just for them to understand, not just to a journey during your career, but what happens afterwards. Now, if we can then just start the beginning, George, we know ki moms, moms. Now, can you just take us through your childhood? Like, what kind of a household you're from and how you were raised, how many siblings, parents, just your family situation,
Yeah.
the kind of childhood that you had.
I come from a family of two kids, me and my brother, older brother.
Sure.
Mom and dad, fortunately,
Yes.
still alive, but they still together.
Sure.
So, ke hotse ke dlala disc. To
Mhm.
be honest, I had no interest in doing other things, but
Yeah.
just focusing on disc. Scale, obviously, here and there, I don't like to push
Yeah.
this narrative. Yeah, what is Gela? Not nah, but I was not strong. It was not my strong thing. So Gatlala disc from an early age. Acadia Shepherds.
Yeah.
Judged Acadia Shepherds.
Yeah.
Acadia Shepherds, Rangers, and then the tournament, the Mamelodi, and yeah, quick rise.
So just you mentioned already you had time at ODD. I mean, we know that in South Africa, that's not amongst us, it's not it's not the standard position like you would expect, So how did that influence you, having influence at that time, or having a present father in your life?
Surprisingly, good didn't know that I played.
Yeah.
They were more focused on school. I was more focused on soccer. So nabasa tsebo re yadlala until like a couple of people started coming and asking for me at the weekend or like, hey, so they didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Until I made it pro.
Yeah.
So they've never even believed until actually he's good at it, but it was a dream that I chased, that I had no plan B. I didn't want to have a plan B. So it led to this from a young age.
I mean, officially because I think I arrived this side in 2003, and by then you guys all already go. I think at the time they didn't go Rangers.
Yeah.
Right? But before Fika Kwakedi and Rangers and those more organized structures, Kokasi, not like a guy, how did you get to Kwakedi and level Rangers?
Kasi like every team is doing well because I used to go around teams. I didn't know opportunity with guys, so I'm be loyal to a junior team.
Yeah.
So I used to move around this team, this season, next season, this team. So the couple of friends that I still have today, Nawatlala, what was it? The Rangers.
Yes. Rangers.
All the guys that you know,
Yes.
with the so they invited me to come play with them because but I was playing Gogasi and I was like go town.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's cheese boy.
Yeah.
So they invited me for trials and then that's how I joined Rangers and then I started moving them play. Level to Acadia.
Yeah. And like a lot of people don't know this, already, and maybe you can just speak about it. But I bet then Acadia was solid. It was like a proper youth team, proper structures. Maybe you can just speak about it.
We had a good squad, especially nearly under 18, 19.
My 89.
Yeah, my 89.
Yeah.
We had a good squad. I actually thought from the group of players, at least 6 or 7 players will make it pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in politics and whatever. So I think I was nearly Diego made it to FCAK.
Yeah.
And then I went to Chiefs. I can't remember anyone else. But the transition from Acadia to pro, it was also not easy because you can't just leave.
I can imagine. Yeah. In fact, I know. I can't even imagine. I know. Yeah. And then Shuba Mabunda officially after it.
Yeah, I was gone.
You had really left on it. I think never looking for a call.
Yeah. Absolutely. So half you and I think I was gone because somebody try.
Yeah.
Somebody try. Silver Stars, a lot of teams. Because the Motaung actually number left. We had to try. Future Silver Stars got as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't even get a chance out.
Sure.
So I had to be persistent, keep going. Yeah. And they feel like invite other guys. Let's go there, but no.
But in terms of making it, because I don't even like just the team, like forget the other age groups, just team earlier. The talent that was there. No belief or you want to be the one who's going to make it
No.
Okay. Because there were other really good players.
I remember the late I think it's a bear. Yes. He was good. I actually thought he was going to be the first one. Donovan also was good. So and surprising
BT. That's my thing. That's why I'm asking this question.
Bona they were the cream.
Yeah.
Go kiddie. So Rena Nerutla B team, like here and there, Repecha go E, have us.
Yeah.
So for me to think that I'll be the first one to
You didn't think.
actually thought it like Thomas.
Yeah.
For these stars. Yeah.
And no favor growing up.
Sundowns by force.
So you're a dance boy as
By
Ndanya
force.
Master there.
By
Okay.
force.
And I mean, Sundowns is a very interesting theme, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
By force. That's agree about the Christmas. Support the team.
Yeah.
So I had to support Sundowns, which I eventually did, and I learned.
Now my opinion is, what if you take age group, I would actually start go 88, né? Maybe up to about 91, 92. I actually thought that was a bit of a golden generation. South Africa. It was, right? You agree with me? And I think it never reached its full potential, right?
Yeah.
And maybe for those that don't understand, I mean, at the time you had Pitori, Wakili, Abotaks, Rossi, like good teams, good players. Josie League, you remember, what Chiefs, Pirates.
Yeah.
Then Kadej, Bujezi Queen, Bafana ba Ajax in Cape Town. Ne? Looking at all those teams back then when we were growing up, the academic of it, can you name maybe 2 or 3 players that you always used to look at and think, from this generation, what is this star?
I think Ducks. We used to play a lot like Ducks. It's not a rivalry. So what happened is, because of Ducks, and I was now impatient to win the league.
Yeah.
They always like bring default players. Players that was at the register.
Sure.
So they would bring a Zongo, they would bring a Kemet,
Yeah.
they would bring a Jali then.
Yeah.
So Arena guys, and we're competing against these guys. And I remember they saw with these superstars that they got to become. Arena won a competition. So to play against those people, and most of them back on national team.
Yeah.
I mean, but now training go Caldonian.
Yes.
National team. So we get to see them and all those players. So
in the local league, like you play.
Yeah, we play.
Go Josie League, you play the Passport Chiefs. Yeah.
So it a nearly difficult transition. I mean, Pretoria League Neruna was 16-1.
Yeah.
Until we got to the league, then we saw the real competition. And again, Josie and play against your Pirates. Both teams are just Queen. It was difficult.
Yeah.
For us to adjust and actually see what level are night it was very difficult. But it was a good experience, because I think Prefect is the second on our first year. That's how good that team was, that generation Ela.
But you mentioned Kemet, Zongo.
Yeah.
Because now those are the 3 that I would.
Yeah.
I think maybe Bafana ba Ajax. Say Tulane.
Yeah. Bay Hill Cup.
Yeah.
Samik Duty.
Cole Alexander, Dylan Classes, that generation was solid. Good Tyson.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then Ufika Joan got Chiefs. Like it, I remember I was shocked. Because I still remember in 2008, you know?
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah, I remember in 2008. I can even remember where I was. I remember in the Relico Pro playing some tournament, the FNB Cup. I remember someone saying, well, guys, George Lebese will go Chiefs.
From McKinney.
And not that you didn't deserve it, but it was just how. Like
it was
like a 0 to 100. It was like, how did that?
It was too big.
Especially when I heard Urki first team. If someone said, because I mean, you're what, 19? 2008, you were 19.
Yeah.
I was 18, you were 19.
19, that's when I.
First team at Chiefs. Like if we can need that, like what? So how did that move? You just take us through that move via Kedia, where Chiefs first team.
So Redleze against Chiefs, Kedia, and the first person to spot me was Dr. Kumar.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted me for development at Chiefs.
Is this under 90? Yeah. Okay.
That's when Nico said no.
Yeah.
Arena, I believe it, to give players to development.
Yes.
You're taking a player from me.
We have to, you can't move from development to development. Yeah.
I got pissed off, right? Because I saw an opportunity of playing for that development, which I thought my chances were going to be higher.
Yeah.
But they said no, and it got to my frustration. Sharp. Played the league. Get the tournament Gogas.
Yeah.
Central.
Yes.
Mogolnik. So there was a guy.
Just team at class.
Yeah. Galacticos.
Yes, Galacticos. Yeah.
Today's out.
Yeah.
So Galacticos Radlala, a tournament. I think it was the Easter tournament.
Yeah.
It was a big tournament. Radlala. So there was a guy by the name of Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley Gostini.
Kiki agent.
No. He's a guy Loring Utoslibu.
Okay.
And Orata board.
Okay.
So we got to meet that day. Ratlala, and you know who dlala these people, because people just come up to you and say, I'll promise.
Yeah. We all know those.
So he came, he spoke to me and he said, how old are you and what's your name? Uthaka, I got more for information. And he said, no, can you go Naturena? He said Naturena. Then I looked at him, I show him like go Naturena, and then I phoned Bobby on the spot.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your player. It's your player. I keep staying more phone. I so believe. Bang. Yeah, hey, player. And then can you go to Mona? Bobby, I think Bobby Nala out of the country or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey. I can you go more. I'm at least I thought try. It was preseason Chiefs. At least I thought try la. And you know it's not easy. You gotta try.
Of course, for Chiefs first team.
Yeah. It took me about 3 days.
Yeah.
I did try. And then Mushi said no. A Rosa.
Yeah.
And that's how everything happened. And I believe I remember I was writing matric.
So no matric the time.
Yeah, I was writing my finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just break that down. So because I know you've told me off air, but I just want to that first day was Libra issue.
Yeah.
I'll feel like Naturena. What happened?
So if it's obviously it's not easy. You can have Naturena.
Yeah.
So if it's go gate in Bobby at the they said no, we're not expecting you guys.
Yeah.
So Jiga, give me the gate. A whole emblem I won. I'm a gate in Kaizer Chiefs. Jiga. Oh, it's like no guarantee it's chronic explode. It's like Monimu, if there's one favor, it's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you talk getting security Jiga, there's no one is expecting you. Bobby I think so I can't roll.
Yeah.
You tell me. Yalla kumra kudu ya bampu. So just keep it right. So before we talk on Bobby phone, unfortunately. No man, I can't security 1, 2, and 3 Jigang look.
Yeah.
At least right Shigaratsana will get in then Bamfa Kitty, Bamfa basket. So blend number. Because I initially wanted number 7. But Kaizer Junior now was, so I couldn't get number 7.
Why 7?
Negrata 7 from since the tournament. Negrata 7. Yeah. So if you come all about me 27, Gerard Sibego got nasty.
Yeah.
For 27. Katray Labukune was injured. I remember that's when you remember you just saved penalty to Sundowns. Just after that, to see these guys Bamu and another G.
Yeah. So give man, like let's run through the names. Got the senior players. Who were some of the senior players? Ziggy, okay.
Tinashe was there. Shaba now there. Jimmy was there. Yigis clearly at the same time. Yeah. So those are some. I thought one was also there. Who else? Yeah, some of their feet. So those are some of the players who were popular. They were there.
And who were the younger? I mean, Itina and
Gambule, Lucky Kune, Dominic Mateva also.
I don't know.
Melody, who were some of the other guys? There was a couple of young guys. And I remember those guys were development. I get her from nowhere.
So I agree. I agree backlash in the sense that I mean, what you don't know here.
So Chiefs used to do that. Used to bring players every preseason.
But I'm thinking because at the time,
yeah, Zoo was there as well.
Chiefs need to the Zoo, footed,
but Navali
good
in between
good development
and first team.
Okay.
So now who fitting straight. So the problem Kivilele on that development.
I can imagine
and then so that was the thing, but they bang accept because Chiefs just pushes a lot of things, respect and it's their culture.
Yeah.
So they were forced to even welcome me because that's the culture they put there. So Kafi Tlagadrela and fortunately for me, I was exercising well cross. So I was good with crossing.
So technique standard.
So very crossing. That's when I think I won the heart. Mushi on that day.
Yeah.
Then from there on, Katamaga dribulana
Lima?
G. We used to have a rivalry. Nanka Bagirokin, Untuana, So ang kapanele kaya nang niya kamera ko
Yeah, it was funny. If it was. Yeah.
So we used to have that rivalry, which is also something that helped me.
Okay.
Yeah. And then every time we pass a ball, we should know what
Yeah.
there's a point one go and train session for get passes. And not that I lost the ball, but why pass? Because remember,
take him
Jawupuli. So you were seeing another Jawupuli.
Yes.
And it's like Jawupuli, nah, I'm not a dribbler. Yeah. So that's how it really my big break.
Yeah. And then so what trial
Preseason match.
Not okay. Yeah, take us through that.
Preseason match weekend.
Yeah, also side. Okay.
Oh, Mpumalanga. That's the preseason match. I think it was a top 4.
Yeah.
Mabutina, I think that time.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lala top 4. The first game we win, finally. So I didn't play the first game.
Yeah.
Man, you give phone it. Everyone who think go stadium. But Majita, so I get the first game. I for frustration, no Maria phone. So second game, Rawina, and then I think I come on as a sub. So I Ramutai Lenyan, and then the opponent and Rash. Yeah, one Momish. Then I started getting popularity from that Momish. Because get honest clothes on my
Yeah.
It's an house getting a uniform Chiefs. Monday, as well as this girl, like a uniform Chiefs. School that's when I was like, cheese. I was also on the girl was saying, then from there on, Bansani that week.
Yeah.
That week, look, it's all about Zodiba.
Yeah. Now that day, how silent? Like we've heard all these stories, right? When I watch Chiefs all silent, it's a big thing.
It is.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes.
How we said Standard Bank, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just take us through that day of silent, or what happened.
1819.
Yeah.
Manjuki, Gasgela, the 100 rand a week.
Yeah.
Was gay.
What hair?
To spend the whole week.
Yeah.
I guess so we're exposed to big money. So I don't know anything. So one pizza they put out a contract.
Come on, who's in the room?
Abdul, my head, Pop Stick.
One Abdul, yeah.
Jessica came and left. Nale, my parents.
Okay.
Yeah, Ragam office.
Yeah.
Abdul, the guy also signed a contract.
Yeah.
Roman Nsafuna. So that's about 1100. Then Kukumu the party.
I can't really
So I get some looking car and Safun. Arrogance. So she just paid them for a call. Yeah, they had a closet full of phones.
Yeah.
Bula. What phone you use? Nokia 1100. Bring that thing. Last year, Camara does be. The manare. Last year, Camara does be. No go below to just go to Viral. I pick up update.
Yeah.
Viral. Take a office.
Yeah.
Answer phone. The box Nokia touch screen. I want to know, man. Area. Then SIM card. Saga Molay. Full. Okay, sure. Next time, Bob Stiger busy mola par Bambir contract. From 100 rand a week, 15,000.
So that's your
month. Yeah. And that's excluding accommodation. Accommodation is sorted.
Also,
yeah, separate. And then they tell me, sign-on fee, we're not going to give you. Sign-on fee. Okay, I don't know much about sign-on fee.
Yeah.
So, like, sign-on fee, buying weight, the figures are sheet. But are we no, why? But no, we're gonna pay Bondiago here. Your parents' house. Keep up stink.
Bob, yeah.
I wrote him fana get you still young, you don't know me. Mama, Bondiago guy. Only I think maybe keep Mama. Sawara Patela Chelet.
Yo.
The child down one Marar in the field. That's when I saw actually Bob.
So Chiefs settled.
Yeah,
they
did. Patel. On the spot, okay, sharp. I got no problem with it. Nice and good.
Yeah.
Because I have a kitty, Nike,
stuff.
I'm all for bag. Like, but we have for full kit, everything, also flops, everything. And boom. And I want to get stuff and busy and it's sending a matter. So then everything from the day.
Yeah.
Upwards.
Okay. And then, because what I want us to do, can I track your career on the field?
Yeah.
But I also want to see what was happening in your life at all times. So no was I na what Chiefs that 15K that I gave when you are 19.
Yeah.
One ba feel bonde going to Lala Chiefs, you're on TV or para staff or how does that change your life? Like everyday life. Or change your
everyday life I was all normal, like it was different. Le banyana bano. It's corona le ola. I sure you're not la moe. And now I'm sure that you're not in Majita.
Yeah.
I want about ofunela. So transition it needs a lot of coaching.
Yes.
Yeah, because hey, it can make you or break you.
Yes.
Because mind you, what's what
Yeah.
I'm not responsibility.
Yeah.
Everyone is just around you. It's everything is just you for it. So that's when you need your parents, our coach, and just to be around and our manage.
Yes.
So life changes. Akusakhona mostrate all of a sudden. And nna ke nyaka ba normal. I wanna continue ka routine ya mara ke bona ra usakhona. Ona mokhoni enze mkhoneng usakhona. Then I had to change. That's the week before the move to Joburg. Nah, I live in Joburg permanently.
So Bloma guy that time.
Mopila Gold Drift City. What is it? Omonde.
Yeah. More south of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Namo, there's a flat here to bed.
Yeah.
So I take my brother. I'm like, cause no knowledge choice. So no family member or bofa another player. So I said, nah, mana. And I called him. I'm not only two. But then she's in transport. I don't have a car. And transport from
cover accommodation.
Yeah, cover accommodation. They pay separately from salary.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
Okay. And I mean, on that topic of Chiefs, Komphela, you patela the accommodation. Not from what I understand, Chiefs is bigger than, it's not just a football team. It's like a whole institution. And one of the things I know about Chiefs is that it's very professional.
Too much.
World-class standards.
Yeah.
And about they look after their players.
They do.
Can you just talk us through that? Like, because you've experienced, we read about these things. Can you just tell us about Chiefs, the brand, and how they look after their players?
They pride themselves with if you're part of Kaizer Chiefs, Banyogo Phillies are part of Kaizer Chiefs. That's why they look after you, your social media, your everyday life. Like Bao coach, they at some point they even brought media training because now you're gonna be doing interviews, so you need to know what to say, what not to say, and how to say it. If you don't like certain questions, you can change an interview. Like way direct. So they actually teach you, especially when you come. Only like me, they actually had to teach me everything. Look, life is no longer the same. Yeah, this is what you need to do. This is what you can't do. All of that, image rights and whatever. So I couldn't like post about someone's brand.
Yeah,
About Patela for image rights. So you can't just be all over the show.
Then when you make your debut, first game how? What was
it against? Remember Lalali? Not sure of the team, but I remember I came on as a sub.
Was it preseason? Was it?
No official game. I remember Nonale Telkom charity.
Yes.
That time where we beat Sundowns.
Yes.
Relevan and then like machines, chickens.
Yeah, the chickens.
Yeah. Then got penalty and then obviously Sundowns, Mamelodi.
Yes.
That's when like really won around. Fun. Never don't hear. We listen wait.
Yeah.
And actually, funny enough, he did try in Sundowns, and they're like, wait, now one's way under whatever. Then there's because most of my friends also because get an avalida. Mamelodi High, Baba Lataga base.
I think Boom. Yeah.
So what's up? Mamelodi base is the same as outlaw.
Yeah.
When Salo go more after school, attention.
Yeah.
So now they are kidding. You're molo fish.
Why molo fish? Yeah. Remember that? Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
All right. And then, in terms of by the time we fit like Chiefs, had you started things like Shaya, Groover?
No.
So at that time you still
like from high, like nigga so fitting.
Yeah.
Like I won't get his rocking. No, not really. Nigga Diski, and I was not exposed to that.
It's not exposed.
Yeah, for I think it told me maybe to drink something about 22, 23.
Yeah. So it's like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, that's when I was like, okay, come with the World Cup. I want to play. But really, I was never.
Yeah.
Never to that.
Okay, now officer go Chiefs. Your first contract, how long was it?
4 years.
2008. It was meant to last you until 2012. Did you see out that contract or Salwa extended?
Salwa extended on my last year because I was not playing.
Yes.
And Chiefs they brought in a lot of youngsters.
Yeah.
So sometimes now we change like mang what's
Yeah.
So they actually had to look and fortunately in the three friends they left and I stayed.
Yeah.
And then like Kunili Dominic Mate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were Kunya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that was VV's
Yes.
So he Barbiza movie. Then he asked us, guys, you need to choose one. It's either you're gonna be a rock star or play football. And then that day fella split as a group. Like no good lad. Then
Nelichuna more coach as well Khalmenas.
Judy Party. Judy Party, we young.
Yeah.
I post on Facebook. We're having a bright today. You can imagine us.
Yes.
We don't understand no real Mara. More social media, then people not look around, please. It's a whole party because of then we didn't understand until we got into trouble.
Yeah.
Then but we're like look guys. So Ratumoga distance nyana and then Nagatumotla. Yeah, then they didn't get enough game time. That's how they got it.
So off Kaizer Chiefs is the coach Nili Mushi, right?
Nili Mushi.
And then after Mushi about VV.
Yeah,
Vladimir Vermezovic.
Yeah.
Like both coaches already. Nel coaches one tactically, man management.
So machine like young players and Nara that players out through. That's when I was also forced to shift styles those are more dribble because I wanted to play and I'm not
because you're not gonna kill you wanna hit the line with the ski, drop shoulder cross.
So machine I had to Zamo dribble unfortunately like a corner so
yes.
But that was not my style.
Yeah.
But because and then he's very direct. Oh man. And now so I'm young, I get scared. I shout down and I get like saying
yeah.
Over training, so name frustrated. Next is then you get a VV version.
VV.
Ushan is our animal ball out say. And he would ask you like, hey, George, coach, can I go here? Coach, you feel like dying? Yes, I run more so you can die quicker. And I like, why you took a good 2 years we have if you want to ask someone else, just
and he was very harsh, because Gopal Alisa came on Abiel.
Yeah.
No leader,
Navarro, because of Teoshia.
Oh,
like we always had to run. Remember, my Goya against Tottenham?
Yes.
There was a counter attack from.
Yes.
That was our type of play. It was not a surprise. So Narshiana from a box to box.
Yeah.
We used to do exercise 5v5.
Yeah.
Where 5 plays against 5 and you're given 10 seconds to finish the goals and come give in. So so Vivi is a typical Serbian. Mashiach.
Yeah.
It was just run for you to play.
So that first contract I have like at 2012. How's your next contract and how does that come about? Did you expect or what you of it?
Yeah, I didn't look like Batongo.
Okay.
Like I didn't have that problem. Yes, I affect our next now.
Yeah.
The whole 19, 20, next thing. So they just called me like, look, I'm going to extend there. I think of further 3 years.
Yeah.
So still young. Then I went to the office. I didn't even look at it's not that. I just wanted to be there.
Yeah.
So in 3 years. And then,
are you regular at that time?
No.
Okay. So
the 3 years again is after VV, then Stuart.
Yeah, and I'm getting to that.
Yeah. Then that's when the transition out.
Yeah. Because you see, Chiefs, now I'm a bit of a football historian. So Chiefs had won the league.
Yeah.
The last time they won the league
10 years also.
In 2005.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they did not win the league. By the time you arrived, nearly 3 years was we.
Yeah.
And you stayed for another 5 years was we in the league. But until Stuart Baxter. So Stuart Baxter, that's when you guys finally won the league again. What was special? What was different? Stuart, everything just changed, and you guys could finally win the league.
That's the quality of the players.
Okay,
there was a lot of quality because I remember how class Stuart. Then they started signing Gaxa, Sepo,
yes,
Morgan, Mosimane came, Tawa, Katsande started playing more. Shaba was there, Yeye was there, Parker was there, Majoro,
Masango,
Mandla, but Nalo Mandla,
Okay. The first league title in El Sadler.
The first league title in
Oh, you did, but his first season.
When Stuart came, plus Stuart Otla, Batla national team.
Yeah.
The first team guys.
Yes.
Yes. So he made a big mistake by giving them an extra week or two off. Yeah. Then obviously wale chance over Galerina, Barlendi, Umandla, Maluleka. Yes. That's when the Malema thing started. So because Stuart Utumlele, and he didn't expect to win the league. He came in and said, I'm going to teach you my philosophy this season. Yeah. I expect to win things next season. Yeah. I will not do that season. That first season he came MTNA and think. So yeah. Then we went to go win the league. Because by the time those superstars came back, they had to be on the bench. Yes. I remember it was even on the media. Hey, what's gonna happen? And who coming back? And it was a big debate because the rates were, I think we went about 9 to 10 games unbeaten.
Yeah. And how's the relationship? I mean, so you get the established players, Shaba, those guys. Jostan Sullivan, Moge. And then you get Intwana, you get Wena, you get Masango, Maria compete, you guys want to show them already, How's the relationship? Off the field, on the field, the Mandiri,
on the field, there is that respect. Mara Hertlala, like, okay, we formed a group, level man, where this Malimat didn't come. Yeah, accident, really close, and we actually told ourselves, look, into the team, so they have to fight. Yeah. So we created that group, and then yeah, I remember at some point, Mofil, had the last shower for and I was like, okay, yeah. So I'm Mozart, no, you're not gonna take this free kick. Yeah. Mozart straight tight, but that's when I saw Ramfan up like. And then we started playing. Then I started and then they lost the game or two, and then Barbuses, and then we won the league. At least Konum mix. I still had Konum mix at that balance. Yeah. Of junior and senior players.
Then you guys won. You won the league, and then Sundowns a winner. I think you guys had a big lead. And they got the Opal, then they came back by winner. And then you won it back. Yeah. No regular. When you won it back, that time you were regular playing. So how did you feel the time? No feel, okay, now
part of big player. No matter what, I know Moti. So also to win the league, all a party team instead of outside line. It's also something very special because we know the contribute. Yeah. Now the goal, I've done things, so it was a special league title. Like it was my first as well. Naruina the Telkom knockout, but it's not the same. It's on the league, and it hasn't never say winning for so long. Yeah. So when we won it, it was special.
Now it was known when Ali Itu Kune. You still are.
Yeah, we still are.
Yeah, you're close, very close friends, right? So as Majita, you guys are this close, I'm sure, on and off the field, like off air now. But he was obviously progressing at a high rate. Like, how does that affect your friend? The way he's you are also doing well, but he's obviously just hitting other levels. Did that have a bearing on their friendship?
The thing about the guy is he's down to earth. Okay. It's just an unbelievable human. Yeah. Who humble. And he didn't rub it into our face or he was always trying to give out advice. Yeah. Say, look, say Russell, because he's been good Chiefs from since development, so he knows his ins and outs. Yes. So our relationship was good, and we actually recruited more guys. George, we got to speak to Bobby to sign George. Yes. We got to speak to Bobby to sign Major.
What do you mean you spoke to Bobby to sign George and Major?
They were obviously linked. Yeah. The Chiefs. Yes. There was a point where Amazon, me and Itu went to Bobby and say, "Oh, we need that guy." Yeah. I must say. Then the same thing happened with George. Oh, there was a link and whatever we didn't know, but we Bobby would speak to us. Hey, what do you think? They're like, so that's how we got to be close.
And by the way, just out of interest, D-scheme, and they'll always be. It's like any other industry. The comparison. Itu's your boy. You played with him, played against him, and then there's Ronwan now, who's For me, those are the two players that I can say I've watched who I could call world-class players, but like a PSA, right? How would you compare those two?
Comparison, problem. Because
part of the game, what's your voice?
You know why?
Yeah.
It becomes difficult to compare,
Yeah.
especially if you know the both of them.
I see. Yeah.
So I can't compare because I know there's a lot of similarities between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because I could say Itu Utliga this thing and this position. Goalkeeper need to post up ball also.
Yeah.
And then he came through the Hora ball in the technique, and then Ronwen perfected it.
Yeah, you took it to another
level. Took it to another level. And so there's a little bit of similarities, but both world class.
Yeah.
For me, if soccer was free, that's one thing about overseas.
Now, by the time, like I said, I want to I discuss a disc on the field. I also want to match it up with your life off the field. So by the time you win your second league title, no regular, I'm sure let's let's stay out child.
Obviously, life has changed. And I remember, for the kind of money that I'm getting.
Kind of money that you're making, yeah.
Yeah, so without like proper coaching, financial coaching, life has changed. You change cars, you want a bigger car. Unnecessary, so a house, you want a bigger one.
So are those, I mean, we hear about this all the time. So what are the, just take us through some of those financial mistakes, financial and social mistakes that you think you made at your prime.
So there was a guy which is very loose.
Yeah, I was Standard Bank.
You know him?
No, I couldn't tell it personally, but we've all heard the story.
Wait. So what happened is, gets a Kapolo.
Yeah.
Apollo. Melus comes to the Naturena village.
Yeah.
Wambona marapo. Oh, Don, wambangale moto. Ubuye umbona ofisini. Kune moto lapha. They actually gave me a car without signing anything. That guy, I was to tell the man. So I didn't need a car, man.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Next thing, the driver 125. Then I got more 125. That's all it's all.
Why was it white?
Black.
A black one.
Yeah, but I sign it from Holy Read.
What?
Only a house, so I drive a house.
Just like there was installment change.
Yeah, when I go to a flow, hey, Orata, okay, yeah, it's a good key. Mamelodi. Hey, boy, I'm not like that. Another PM for no one.
Yeah,
rats and PM. And I number plate to the so the privileges in the career then. So life change. I moved from that two bed flat.
Yeah.
Now I moved to a townhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, bigger space. Can move all my brother. Move to a bigger space. The lady changes.
Yes.
I she found a BMW here. Then a year later, Mini Coupe. Remember the BM again. That was super very key.
Yeah.
It was a contract I signed, but what we didn't know, Bonaba is Pampiri when we lost the balloon, it's like, oh, it's a school. So that's when life changed. And then those are some of the decisions, all level, they were a mistake because of so you don't have to change your car because you don't need to. And then with the Pagala financial strain by taking all these things and they are necessary. That's why after this, it becomes challenging because you did a lot of unnecessary stuff.
Now you can't maintain.
Where you can't. Now after this gets on says you can't keep up anymore. The bills and shit.
But off the field, I mean, lifestyle was more stuff. I don't recall who got a George athlete gym.
Never had problems. I was okay.
But you were just very like
I used to have my own mistakes here and there, Mara, like the few. I say they won't get to be so much so we gotta get problem.
Yeah.
It's never a problem. It's just okay. One by this, okay, color. Then you be disciplined.
And then Stuart leaves Chiefs, and then I think Steve Komphela came. Right? Matat.
Why? Of Stuart. Yeah. I think the reason why Stuart left also is because there was players that were brought into the team Nasaranyaki. So it more frustrating. Like
new players.
Yeah, new players. I know names of players that Nasamara. So I just don't want to speak about them.
Yeah.
Now actually he'd be like, no, what is he doing here? And then unfortunately for the player, and then be like, yeah, Wabon, it's because you get then Atzama. But when he leaves, now he's won things and get transition. You know, a lot of guys are renew. Therefore leaves. Mamelodi
Yeah, I remember Tefo there.
Masango leaves.
Yeah.
A couple of other guys also. Babambari Tag,
Yeah.
Baba. So Steve now comes in and there's a big shoes to fill.
How's your relationship with Steve when it comes?
Father and son.
Great relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's surprising about because I don't know why Nasan like this, but we have a good relationship till this day.
You know.
Till this day, yeah.
And
I'm phoning like he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Just that like this is not the Bafana wala na ba mo fatlile wa tla.
Yeah.
Nasan like this.
And then last thing before we move on from Stuart, the perception at the time was that Chiefs knew winner. Chiefs. Or you're not playing.
You just knew how to win.
Yeah, you just knew how to win. Yeah. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's unfair?
I think a little bit unfair, but they have a point because I mean, not games in Naruna and not Gakon.
Yeah.
But we know how to defend.
Yeah.
That one, not the area first afraid defender the whole.
Yeah.
So it's things a lot of our culture. That's all. Like sometimes you don't have to play pretty football. Just grind out the results for the rest. I want to ski.
And you're comfortable with it.
Even though sometimes there's some fee.
Yeah.
Because now Helena Grand, I was not looked at as the player as a lady long grinder.
Okay.
Like it's like this one Onyaka game it's a pill, that's a nice. So if Neria like for instance I always start on the bench easy from Monday or I get
was it about physical?
Yeah, physically and again stadium and all of that. So but night to win was so.
And then tactically, how was Steve different? I think Steve push up maybe better football, or at least on the eye.
Yeah, Steve, he came at it is unfortunate. And to transition from that winning mentality and how we know to play to something new, it became difficult. And Steve likes a lot of input from the senior guys, which is something if I were to say get down for because he would ask the senior guys and then he can have something personal when like this.
The money,
that's what some of the guys I know they did that gun. Like, look, play Chirambandar instead of George.
Yeah,
and I knew they didn't know that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I knew, and I could never wanted those are one of the. That's why he had a fallout.
Yes,
he had a fallout with Gaxa because of asking for an input from Gaxa, and then because Gaxa is raw, I'm fire on a raw, and then it looked like Okarawa challenger or Tiak. Then they had a fallout.
Okay,
so those are the things that Lauren demo by Steve. And besides, he didn't have luck. Some of the games they did
there were games where I remember watching Chiefs get married. I know we focus on more results, but I actually see a lot of progress in
finally. He was supposed to be his first trophy. Rajiwa, and we had a good run until that final. Rajiwa got finally. So and we obviously support that you're impatient.
But I mean, Chiefs since Nakelo Stuart, Chiefs are so net worth. That's ridiculous.
That's 10 years.
Did you see that coming? Or were you surprised? Did you think?
I like to tell people like Pavana, there's some supporters of zone over to most of the what's a mail and I always answer them. The last time you were happy I was involved. Because I made you happy.
Yeah.
So but for big institution like Chiefs, come on, 10 years.
No.
I think there's a lot that needs to change.
And then you leave Chiefs. And you've spoken about this. You've spoken about this on other platforms. But the thing is, when you left Chiefs, I think mainly 17, 18.
17. 18.
Yeah, 17, 18, somewhere there. So the perception at the time when you left Chiefs was right? And everyone was shocked recently. I think the local manager was told them, no, actually Chiefs was offering me more. I knew because you've told me,
Yeah.
Not at that time. I thought you were leaving Chiefs for 2 reasons. I thought Ovaya for Zaga. And I thought Sundowns you sign up because they also want to boost the profile in terms of signing
I was
local players. Because I think what's in your store?
Poster boy,
Pretoria. Because what's in it to go but and I mean Toki
and they just signed Opria.
Yes. And Toki is a good player. I mean I know Toki from
Yeah.
But I just did not think at the time. Like the move, especially I did not make sense.
Also, man.
Yeah, but still, I just felt like, so for me, I felt like I think Motsepe wants to balance that thing out. We've got local players.
Side.
The Pitso side.
Linla.
Yes. But we now know.
But I think there was information in or by 50 season. We don't have enough Pretoria players. That's why.
So that was at least part of it, yeah.
So it made sense.
Yeah.
George. Dog.
Yeah.
It made sense for and nearly available to take. So
yeah,
I think it made sense for.
So you didn't leave for money. So why Village? Because a lot of Chiefs fans to this day,
so I would never know if I didn't leave Chiefs.
Yeah.
I had to leave Chiefs to know.
Yeah.
So Pitso umferile. Umferile bila, like umferile. He kept on calling.
Yeah.
Like he made me feel wanted. And remember,
mm-hmm.
and I feel I should be playing.
Mm-hmm.
So his timing also was good.
Yeah.
So Coach Pitso, Fona, and he kept on saying, it's got renew. Yeah. Coach, serious. And remember, Sundowns just won Championship League.
Yeah.
Why would I not want to be
part of the
team? Oh, and lineup. Lineup rapo isawar. Udlala wena number 10 striker, right, left, wena bona mnandi. So that's when I was like, okay, I actually am wanted here.
Mm.
So for now, then contract leading you didn't make sense for me. I was like, can you udlala? But Chiefs now comes with a big offensive.
And take us to that day. That day, Bobby offer.
So Bobby Negemo, avoid the whole 2 weeks.
Maybe in a contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't also know why. But it was until Salaga 6 months.
Yeah.
So ke avoid the Bobby the whole week of Philly. Check him mona tla so get so. Now hona le story already. Busy babulele.
Yeah.
So ke avoid the Bobby, and then my agent every reason to say Zamaya the Chiefs. Well, it was my decision, but I push it towards you. Not look, they have good bonuses. Oh, okay, sure, it makes sense.
But we should offer downs that time.
Or no, it's just this campus.
Yeah, don't see. Okay.
So I went and asked, go, Bobby, look, at least, next time you can match, like improve.
Yeah,
because what I know from Chiefs is especially from Bongwane,
it's
by like they don't really put big numbers because Abanyo was senior anyway.
Yeah.
So okay, Bobby, then they got an idea. So they gave me a quite decent offer. Like it was good actually. So I remember that day, Bambi's after training. They called me. Everyone else was
yeah.
So already I had decided. I decided.
Yeah, fine.
I got about
yeah.
I decided to sit down in the office. I remember it's me, Bobby, Mr. Myhead.
Yeah.
Like 3 office.
Yeah.
They put down the contract. It's fine. Without even looking at the numbers. Hey, Bobby, no one makaro, next time. I was saying, I couldn't even look at Bobby in his eyes because I can imagine disappointment. The effort that he took into. Hey, I was saying, and then I am on the way. So they already prepared the release form because I think Sundowns has already engaged them. So banally idea. So inside release form, Sundowns already made an offer because contract I guess is 6 months.
Yeah.
And I think they made an offer about like 4 million, something like that. For a player you can get free in 6 months. So it was a good offer for Chiefs to at least get something.
Because I always thought you left Chiefs for free.
No, they paid something. I'm not sure exactly.
You don't know the numbers.
3 or 4 million. For 6 months. Yeah. They could have gotten me. Then that's all free.
Free contract, then they don't want to
already Navangubili Jimali development. That day, meeting. Negil Chanzatomo Jimali development team. Navangubili.
Yeah.
And again, remind you, I needed a Puma.
Yeah.
And then Chiefs was absolutely like, no such thing, Brandon Village. Now, what was a yeah. If we sponsored me Puma, what happened for my Chiefs?
Puma.
So ke tletse black label ka plume ke sa fiwa green light. So already ne sentse ke tumile go lwa le batho.
Yeah.
So one go and I said like I said, I remember disappointment mo. I was bad. I felt badly about his name. Kira flow. Then then I signed a release with guys. Well,
But have you checked the figures at some point? We'll check it or about offer.
I did feel agent. So he told me it was double my salary.
They doubled the salary. What Chiefs?
Yeah.
So what you on before? What times two?
Yeah, they like that. And Chief doesn't double on anyone.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, but far gradually.
Yeah.
Improve. So they doubled. But the problem is now signing on fee it was not as big.
Yeah.
Sundowns signing fee was big.
Yeah.
Salary was So that was the difference.
Can you tell us? Don't tell us the salaries. I know you want. Can you at least tell us the signing on fees? What was the Chiefs signing on fee versus the Sundowns signing?
The Chiefs signing on fee I think was 1 million.
Is this a season?
A season. So if you sign 3,
yeah, you're gonna get 3 million. Yeah.
But they divide it into 6 months.
Yes.
So it's like 5.
You get them 5 people. Yeah, I know that.
It was around that amount.
Yeah.
And then with Sundowns, it was something like about 1.5 to 2. And that money they give you.
And what guy?
So sign-on fee when I was same time. So it was around those figures.
Yeah.
So their sign-on fee, Sundowns was more.
Yeah. And the Chiefs salary was
less, but the salary was high.
Okay.
And then Sundowns salary was low. Yeah. Because they know what bonuses. Sundowns was 3 games is 7,000 per game. So
for a win.
Yeah, a win.
And they always win.
Bonus. We always get 777, but when you not play, you get half.
Okay.
Yeah. So they no fit a quid to touch salary.
I can imagine. Yeah. If you feel the league, the Champions League, the cup, all that week.
Exactly. And they give you after 3 games, I think. 3 games they give you.
Yeah.
I take syntax.
Yeah.
Just give it. So I think that was the reason why Nabafa salary. Yeah, like because they know you're gonna make bonuses.
Yeah.
And now people staying too much. Salary. You'll see.
Yeah.
Because they didn't allow fancy cars. I know a lot of players, but they get bonus and now fancy cars and a pool. You had to have a pool. Yeah, you had to have a pool. I know guys. If you take a X5 how? How's that? They tell you straight. Oh, you buying cars? Bench. And then it's American. Go back.
Yeah.
So I had a sponsor, an i8. It's like
yes.
I couldn't even. When I graduated, so just before Torkopo, I went
Yeah.
Because niggas go. I go now and i8. I'm out done. So nigga pack a mola the phone, Lamajite, Kupalon say. Then I have to training.
Yeah. And then office I got down. So I'm sure office had when coachy, like you say, Pitso now share like basically.
Yeah.
So you had high hopes.
I'm not in my head.
And then office had our change because you didn't. I think you played 16 games total for Sundowns.
So if it's first week, like a Wednesday, but Saturday.
Yeah.
If it's like a Wednesday, I'm already in the team. The Jimale starting team.
Yeah. So I'm going to learn this is
okay. Sharp. I get ready. Philosophy. I read saying that I want to get okay. Sharp. Okay. Game. Second game. I think I came on as a sub from the bench in a few minutes. Yeah. And then slowly started fading away. I get it. I have no idea why am I not playing. They tell me I'm overweight. Okay.
Okay. Maybe something discipline. Something.
Yeah. They said overweight.
Okay.
I said overweight. Bang way I'm grading number. Okay. You need to lose whatever.
Yeah.
I started not eating.
Yeah.
Kijima had 3 results. Kijima before the actual training. Bangraga sweat how I feel. Kijima la and I'm expected to perform the same way.
Yeah.
Kijima after 3 times I lost the weight. They put me back when I scored. First half half time. Coach Pitso, my boy, I want to save you because you haven't been playing, and so the game pace thing is too hard for you. So and then we'll build up from the. Remember I scored. So no. Next game we play you 70, and then we'll build you up to 90.
Yeah.
Knowing very well, I lead half time. Coach sharp, no problem. Bansa, they put on La Fob. Sharp. We lost that game 2-1. Babu Apple 1-0 got a 2. So he goes to do an interview with the coach. They ask him about me. Oh, why won't after? No, he said he was tired. The boy said he was tired, man. So, hey, man. I've never said I'm tired. Are you tired? Hey, man, man. That's why. So, thinking back, like everyone was surprised though. Because they knew him, you know, and now they know how to deal with coach. Because I very respectful. When I come to him, this boy said he was tired. Then that's when like I started. And then I trained. I kept on doing the 3 sessions. Then I went to the office. Coach, I need to know, what do I need to do? Yeah. Because now I'm not playing. Oh, and no, boy, you know, it's tough. Mamelodi Sundowns, all the quality players. Sereno is there. Mshishi there. Buffett was saying about Ali Meza, like Rocky's there, gonna go level 4. So he's got a lot of options. Build the bond.
Really part of Pitso afterward.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I was not my friend. Yeah, I'm not summer. Especially when I was summer. I'm about release on Havana.
Yeah.
So that time there's Kelis Makala Ota development thing. So Rena profiling and big. So we expect to play but Larisabo on a Pagamani just came here and what. So I won't narrow my phone. 11v11 good training. I'd be on a bench 11v11 good training. And now it starts to hit me already. What's amazing? Wow. You could have built the legacy. You could have been the next Dr. Kumalo and only for so long. Now you left for this Bono.
Mara, throughout those tough times, actually, how is wrong? Do you lose interest? Because it can happen. I mean, you're human. You can lose interest, or do you just keep grinding?
I tried. To be honest, I tried to stay focused and like fight for my place until I couldn't anymore.
You just couldn't.
I got exhausted and I was like, there's a point where I stayed, I told you, I stayed 2 months.
Yeah.
Go high, this side training. Yeah. No one called me. No one was bothered. Or give okay, salary full. Or go higher. Now it messes up with your mind because now you want to play.
And you won league titles then?
One.
Yeah. How did you feel? Like,
I was happy because of it about more Kaizer Chiefs. Yeah. And now I'm like, okay, at least I got it.
Yeah, at least something.
We win something. Yeah. But really, really deep down inside, I was not happy that I didn't contribute as much as I wanted because Coach Chiefs I played like 80% of the games we won the league. 5, 6 games. It for me contribution it wasn't as much. So until I got to a point I stopped going. Like literally I stopped. Until transfer window.
Yeah.
Then I spoke to my agent. I'm like, I need to go play. That time I'm busy speaking to I apologize. Now remember so I tried to call him. I forgave you, but the door's closed. You know,
Chiefs.
I wanted to go back because I'm still fresh. So I need to go back. Even some that is about so I felt like okay, actually I can go back. But I had already burned the bridge. I actually tried. I called him. I don't know. So transfer 1 month before signing on fee, I decided to leave everything. The sign on fee. I was like,
what do you mean 1 month before signing on fee?
We had to get signing on fees. Then after transfer window, remember they didn't give us signing on fees because August signing on fee was summer.
Yeah. Okay. Just after when they know you are there for the next poker. Yeah.
Then naga. Even the signing fee you can keep.
And how much money are we talking?
Close to $1 million. I was like, I get sharp. To stay for
I don't know, you were fed up.
A week.
Now I'm staying for $1 million. Last month.
And I was fed up. I did it for my emotional being. Next year, like I was going through things, and I remember there's no one around me. And go home stress out. Like, why did
I leave?
So I was like, you know what? I thought Ogra me first in Gaxa. And then to wait another transfer, I have to wait another 6 months. Ke maido nya motho a sa dlalang the whole
But
year.
you went on loan. Is this when you went on loan? Or you went on loan?
Back from loan.
Oh, this is back from
Back from loan. Now they have to decide.
Super Sport, you went on loan, go Super
I
Sport.
went on loan to Supersport, but remember mentally I'm not.
I was not.
Yeah. So even I'm not. I can't be myself, and
Yeah.
it's too
Yeah.
short of time. Well, I get feed. I was not playing.
Yeah.
It's mid-season.
Yeah.
They try to play me Kaitanole nonsense, extra sessions, but I was not meant to.
Just not.
Like I feel like I already like said, you know what's up. Like even being at Supersport didn't do me any good. Then Bamfa clearance on the night, Kuala
Transferring.
making sure that's I fail. Then they give me clearance hack, and then that's when switchbacks came.
Yeah.
They called it like,
Yeah.
do you want to play?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want to play. It's not even about big salary.
Yeah.
You know, but okay, sure. We have interest in coming. I was like, even perfect away from him. Like,
How do they contact you?
Miguel Tim Pirates.
I know Miguel. Yeah.
His older brother,
Kyle.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Assistant coach.
You're not very since on the States.
Yeah. So he called me. He's like, hey, do you want to play him?
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure. I'll say. So that's how I went.
Okay. And then, so do you take a, but USL, right?
Yeah, yourself.
Do you take a salary cut?
Yeah, it's not much.
So you don't really go for money.
Nah, it was just money. You know, I made sure accommodation is sharpening.
Yeah.
Remember, I just got married then. So, can you go null family? Because what they normally like to do is to share.
Sure.
Especially if you're foreign.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I say no.
Yeah.
But I sharp accommodation. Whatever you give me is Gaxa.
And how was that experience? And like, just take us briefly. I know you were there for a lot, so we won't spend much time.
Yeah, it was a year.
Yeah.
So it was a new experience. Remember, I'm old now. I'm 30s.
30.
So
yeah.
outside the country at that age, and now you need to adapt to the snow.
Yeah.
I've never seen snow, man. Now snow, snow. It was a bit challenging, but it's a good experience. But the team, I always say, like, especially USL, they treat bolo ya bona bjana ka in strictly entertainment. Not because I used to have players there valoring after junior medal. So it's not really his main focus or so they treat it like that. So especially because our relegation, our promotion, USL, you just play the whole until maybe we meet certain requirements, then they put you on shoulder. But otherwise, it was just winning and playing in.
Yeah. And then why did you come back? Like, what happened?
Season I actually signed, I extended a year.
Yeah.
Then I came back. And as I was about to go back, COVID hit. And that's when South Africa was on a red flag.
I remember that, yeah. That period.
So I couldn't go. So we waited a month, second month, and then that's when I was like, what? It's not, this thing's not going to change now. And to be fair, we can't pay you and you're not coming also because we settled, we had an agreement. I think it gave me like about 6 months salary.
Yeah.
And then they said, you can have one.
But at the time this is 22, you're 31. What's that now? Why did you come back with that? Why? Come on, George.
Wait.
Something if it to cheaper, baronka, something if it come on.
I tried. I tried to the point more galants.
Yeah.
Enjoying with them. For some reason, clearance. They had to sign me. Clearance. There was some story about clearance. Sorry, I need to get it from him. I got the letter, gave them, and then nothing happened.
But you're not, because usually you'll hear stories like George wants too much money.
That was the story that being pushed around.
Yeah.
That was not. The Soilos did the same thing. And then they said they don't have the budget.
Yeah.
But we didn't speak. I was even willing to play for free. I was like, can you go like that really? They didn't even approach me. We didn't even speak. And then I asked because I was paying my accommodation, I get transport every day, first week, second week, third week. I asked like, you guys should have an idea at least if you want me or not.
Yes.
So I can move on and try elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then the coach, Brendan, Twitter, it's like the budget, boy. I would love to have you.
Marabara budget, did you discuss figures or?
I haven't. I think budget, like it was an easier way of saying,
yeah,
we don't want you.
So sounds like you're forced into retirement. Almost.
Yeah, almost. I didn't want to retire, but once you stay for so long, you lose the hunger and love, and because it's a mental thing. It's very stressful. So I just thought let me just move on. If something comes, but let me just move on and look at other things.
So, if you could go back and change what happened, because we've not covered your whole career from development until your last contract, go USA. If you could go back and just change one thing, what would you do differently?
There's nothing. They get to ask me a lot of this question of then move to Sundowns, would you stay? I feel like I would. Because, I mean, I would never know. I was going to say the Chiefs and extend and not go to Sundowns.
Yeah.
And now you were going to be asking me opposite question.
Yeah.
Could you not have not went to Sundowns?
You could have won leagues. You could have won.
There's only one way to find out. I had to make a decision, and the decision I made it. So I moved to Sundowns. I wanted to go to Sundowns. I wanted to be part. Unfortunately, it didn't work. That's the same.
So you think it felt like the right decision at that time?
Yeah, I felt the right decision, and I think I would still make the same decision. I mean, if you were to ask me now, does Eden Hazard regret going to Madrid? He doesn't. It didn't work out.
Yeah. But at the time, it made sense.
It made sense. So that decision was made. I went there. It didn't work out. I told even the coach Pitso then, I was like, Coach, with all due respect, even today, I still have major respect for Coach Pitso. I told him straight, I'm like, it's not working. Between you and me, it's not working. And why is the media? They always write, and Sundowns doesn't like that. About the media writing about certain players. Look at now, Lodge.
Yes.
Because people kept on asking.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing for him to get loaned elsewhere to also relieve stress. So I was in a similar position where people ask journalists, hey, why is George not playing? So I'm like, Coach, it's not working here. Let me go. So, but because they spend money, they didn't want me to go for free back to where I was from. So they had to, in a way, block me from going back for free. Yeah. Because Chiefs would have benefited. I'm back, but I'm no longer with them. So they made sure.
And how's your relationship with Bobby?
Try to mend it after. I still apologize even after. He greets me here and there, but you can see I rather what I did. And which is understandable because Bobby is a genuine. He's a genuine guy. He's an honest guy. He's like a father figure. For me, he was like a father figure. There's a point when on transport, he literally called his wife and said, Muisa. So that's the relationship we had. So now imagine that player coming back and saying aside for what reason? Wow. So, but we still fine. I saw him the other day go on a break. But like, yes, I greeted him, but with Bobby, you must know when to approach him. Also, but I just have respect and greet and just move. So I think my perspective, I think Rasha.
But if you could say one thing to him, what would you say?
Same thing I've said. I apologize. It was just a decision I had to take. It is nothing personal towards him or the club. What they've done, it was never about that. It was just personal growth. I wanted to grow. And comfort zone, you're never going to go from comfort zone. I was really comfortable with Chiefs. I had to go test myself. And unfortunately, there's two things can happen when you do it. Things can go well or not. They didn't go well. Okay, sharp, we learn it's life.
And then the career ends. Now, just this journey of after football, the time with life, did you ever think of it? Did you ever think when all of this ends?
No.
What am I going to do?
You get too high in like where you think most of the time players think, I hope that's failed. I'm going to play forever.
Let me tell you what the average South African thinks, right? And you will tell me where I'm right and where I'm wrong. Firstly, the average South African thinks if you play for Chiefs, you play for Sundowns, you are making millions.
Okay, that's true.
That's true. And then the average South African...
That's what I'm saying is true, Hori. That's what they say.
But not everyone.
But not everyone. Not everyone.
But there are players.
There are players that are making millions.
Right. And then everyone thinks, well, and if you're making those millions and you know that latest 35, 36, you should start making provision, start making plans, start putting away money, start investing. Do you think that happens enough for South African players? And why do you think it doesn't happen?
I think I don't want to blame it too much also on coaching, financial coaching, because coaches, they do offer that. And because after training, but We don't realize that it's important.
So the team it is about
They have at least our nerdocha. Sometimes they used to sit alone and that.
Shaka now.
Yeah, some are fortunate to have people around them to give them like proper coaching. Some don't, where you think you'll play forever. And to be quite honest with you, as a soccer player, your life starts after football. Yeah, after that's when you really, because remember what's all every day. Now you transition from there to no I start local. Yeah. And it's no longer the same. Now you have all these names and medals and they do nothing for you. Now you're gonna have to live and then all family, you're gonna have to support that. Things are no longer the same. And that transition, I think to understand that while you're playing, they've preached. I mean, the legends, they've always preached about the same thing. Make a plan now while you still play to sustain your life, because life, it's not longer going to be the same for you. Yeah. So if you don't do that, then a problem. Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't really, we buy cars, we buy houses. They tell you invest in property. I'm thinking invest in property is buying myself a big.
Buy your, not in investment. Yeah. You want to buy.
It's not investment. Now it's investing. It's costing me money. I'm paying it. No one is renting it, making me. I understand. And now you said, and now also you look at Spain on Hadiru. That money is no longer there. That you could have used to do that,
and your savings, you're taking into
just all. It's all school fees, which is a idea. So and then now it's no longer coming in. Now you're gonna have to down. You're gonna have to get rid of those expensive cars, get rid of the huge house and find a smaller house. But it's a transition. I mean, not everyone goes through that.
Yeah.
But it's a transition. You must understand where you are and build from that. But unfortunately, some players find it difficult to do that. The game is what do you call it? Daddy legends, and I really get to see like now some of the ex-pros by Nyaga guys. Yeah, by Nyaga.
They shouldn't need
their appearance. Now first thing I ask, envelope, because you left your family and the expectation will come back with money. So so now it's the money that you need. And then I feel like that's why most of the ex-pros now, we do these interviews and podcasts, because I would hope and expect that Mofugeng, Shabalala is sitting and watching this and actually educating himself and taking me as a reference. So look, I don't have to buy an expensive car. I don't need it. As long as I have a car that in transport, I'm fine. There's no need. It's in separation, So that's the importance of these shows and listening to them. So that's why I feel like these guys need to listen and see, because it's not nice when you're in this situation. Trust me. When you see the guys that our heroes that we see and I see how they live, and that's how you feel like Bolo maybe cares.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, I'm sorry to make this example. Bona Ace Shabanko. It's not a nice situation. You see,
for sure.
No one is coming to his rescue.
Yeah.
But did he meet? I mean, it's sad. So that's why these kids now, they need to really think about their future and invest in themselves. And after football is important.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who think you earn so much, or you could still live your life and still save so much that could last you the rest of your life. That
getting cheated now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's why education is important and figure out what you want to do. Because getting cheating, but once it stops coming in, I mean, that's when you start afresh.
And then going forward, what plan for George Lebese? I mean, you're still a brand. I mean, I've been out with you. And this guy is still. And you still walk into a place and they're like, "Yeah, get your."
I don't like that. Unfortunately, it comes with it, because at some point you need your privacy.
Yeah.
So okay, it was past. Be a normal person, but unfortunately, it comes with it. So I think moving on, man, it's just growing the brand, clothing brand, personal brand, like to be involved in the sport as well, but not in terms of coaching.
Okay.
I will never make a good coach.
Yeah.
Being involved in the sport will make me.
What kind of role? Like if anyone happened was to watch the stakeholders, what kind of role do you think you would play in football?
I think being part of it, advising the young kids, being part of analyzing games, just anything to just keep the spirit of that.
Yeah.
Or sky for
Yes.
it ends when it ends, but to be around, and obviously at some point I looked at being an agent. Because there's a lot of talent. There's kids that don't have that opportunity. But and you want to bring them closer, to the scouts and MDCs and all that. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. No, all good, man. And then, we approaching the end. To close off, just, on a lighter note, I'm just going to ask you some quick questions. Right? This is based on players that you've played with and against and other players, right? Let's start with the players we've played with and against, right? Who would you say was the best Greece player? Keegan Dole. Buchanan.
Oh, Keegan.
Yeah, he's cool.
He can put together an outfit.
Yeah.
And what I like is that
he just knows how to.
He just knows how to put together an outfit.
Yeah.
Mr. Bryce, outfit, he's that guy.
And then who was fun? Like if Kiriki be there, I got to groove vandaag, bring one teammate or opponent.
Atlera.
Groove. Who's the most fun? Who's gonna give us
fun? There's a couple.
You can choose one or two or three.
Itu doesn't go out as much.
But when he does.
But he's a fun person to be on and funny as well.
Yeah.
George, also fun. To play around, yeah. Or Siras Mara. Actually. Behind in front of a camera, he's that guy.
Yeah.
Margamara, very funny guy.
Yeah.
Those are the two I can think of that have been a little obviously Gabuza.
Yeah.
Gabuza's Westbrook.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Ladies, man. Come on. Not really now wa flop e ke ba fetile ska kwa te. Ora ta ke banya. You can count yourself. I know.
No. Not me. Keegan, at some point, because Keegan was that guy.
Buchanan again.
Yeah, he was that guy. Majoro at some point. As well. Lena Nelly. Yeah.
Okay. And then who had the best cars or best car since we learned this? Manfred Manora. Itu. Oh, okay. He's very private.
And it won't be little now we were young. First time we went to SRT, he had what Mercedes Benz.
Yeah,
he was not able to buy.
Yeah,
he was one person.
Okay, and then now you are left-footed. Left-footed players are rare; they're special, right? So I'm just gonna quick quiz. I'm gonna name two left-footed players. Choose away one. So that's like a one.
Okay.
Skarango Vese, Keegan Dole. Choose one. Skarango Vese, Masubusani Zongo. That's tough. Skarango Vese, Simpio Shabalala.
I would respect Shabalala. Scar still.
Skarango Vese dented.
Scar.
Any left-footed player that you think is better than Scar? Momsense.
I'm trying to think of currently.
Yeah.
No. In my opinion, no. I would say Mshishi is a right.
He's a right foot.
He's one of the guys. Yeah. I rate highly. Mara. Left, when you're speaking left,
Scar.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, since Ulala, players that you've played with, players that you've played against, and just very quickly, let's create a starting 11 of your.
My favorite.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
When you have formation, 4-3-3, 4-4-2.
It'll depend on the players.
Okay, so go ahead. You're the coach.
You do obviously in goal.
Yeah.
Right back, Gaxa.
Okay.
Left back, Sebo.
Yeah.
I want to go with. Yeah, that's the problem. Mashamaide.
Yeah.
Rivaldo.
Centre back, River.
Yeah.
What a player.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Rivaldo.
God.
And then George.
Malulek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keegan Buchanan.
Okay.
You said any players?
Any. Did you play with them against?
Keegan, George.
Yeah.
Mandla. Okay. Sorry.
Man's on the right.
No.
Okay.
Mushishi on the right. Left. Akitepa.
Oh, what Haaland? Oh, no.
Okay, get the Pala.
Okay.
And then Serrero.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Those are, I think, the players.
Okay. No, George, Donna, thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us. Yeah. I really enjoyed this. And I think a lot of people will enjoy, hearing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, man. And if you're all right, I think there's still a lot we could have spoken about.
Yeah.
But yeah, covered.
But this schedule, we can talk about it if you like.
Yeah, but thank you for having me, sharing my journey.
Yeah. All right. Everyone, thank you for being with us. Very interesting guest that we had, and we look forward to the next one. Peace.